What is up, guys? It's Samim here with one of my clients, Molly, and she has crushed it in the last 6 months. So I wanted to hop on and chat with her and kind of just go through what happened, what went well. Maybe if she hates me, I don't really know. But for the most part, I don't think she hates me. So we're just going to talk about what's going well. So, Molly, great to
Only
have you.
only 20% of the time.
It's like it's like a love hate. So I'm glad that we could at least get some positive things going as well. So yeah, I guess tell us what you do, who you help, how long we've been working together, just some basics.
So, I'm an elite online fitness coach and just recently have shifted into helping CEOs, and that's definitely my target client at this point. We've been working together for a year now, but I would also add to that that the past couple months have been the most exciting with just some of the shifts that we've made. Yeah.
Sweet. So I guess rewind back like before we started working together, what do you feel like was the biggest challenge? What were you doing? What were you seeing? Obviously, we've done a lot of iterations and adjustments, which is I think the value of coaching. But we've done a lot of different things. So what do you feel like was the biggest challenge starting, and then how do you feel now?
Um, Starting, I would say, uh, obviously, it was starting mainly on Facebook and Instagram. And I just think that that crowd compared to where I'm posting now, which is more on LinkedIn, like that's been my focus. That's been the shift that was so exciting for us to make in the past few months. Um, just looking back at my calls and my potential clients that I was dealing with off of Facebook and Instagram is not the same quality of person. So there was, first of all, I had to do a lot more posting to even get people on the phone as a potential client. So that was a lot more work. And then out of the people that I did talk to on the phone, um, not a whole lot of them were my ideal client. Like I just felt like it was always kind of random with who was going to show up on the phone. And it's kind of just like I was crossing my fingers. And it worked. First of all, it did work. Um, and it did get easier as time went on. And that was important for me to do to where I was able to make money immediately. Like it did work. And so that was important for me to at least see that it was possible. And it was also exciting too, to where the more we fine tuned, the better that got. But it still wasn't. It still felt like a lot of work compared to what we've been doing with LinkedIn in recent months. And that's just been a big jump in how easy it is for me to find my ideal client, and just way better quality in terms of leads overall, shifting to LinkedIn.
So like when you say quality, I feel like for what I saw from my end is like your close percentage just went up and the price point went up as well. And so like you were still doing well before. It's like it's not like you weren't doing well, but you now have to get on fewer calls to get more sales. And like that's everybody wants that. And I think um overall quality over quantity always wins. Like I'm like that, you're definitely like that. And it was really cool to watch that happen where like you would probably book how many calls versus how many sales versus now every sale is higher quality sale, it's a higher ticket sale, and it takes less of those calls to get an ideal client, which is I think what everybody wants.
Mhm.
So what do you feel like we did, and what are you seeing out there that you're like, cool, I see why this matters, and maybe why it made a difference?
I think that, first of all, I was saying that I need to charge more, to not exhaust myself. Like I knew I needed to be making at least 4K sales or up per client, for 3 months at a time. And so I think one of my initial fears with jumping into LinkedIn and asking for that much money was that if I asked for more money, I was afraid that fewer people would jump in. And like you just said, it was the opposite effect. It's like on LinkedIn, once we made that shift, I was asking for more money, sometimes double than what I was able to sell on Facebook or Instagram. And I had a way better close rate. Um, and the reason for that is because the people I was dealing with were higher quality people in general. Just like in general, my time was being well spent. So I didn't feel like I was wasting time. Even if I don't close people on LinkedIn, like I'm talking to CEOs and
Mhm.
they're great. They're high quality people. I feel like I can connect with them really well in general. So like the conversation is good. And they value it, right? So like I didn't feel like I was having to explain my value and why fitness is important. Because that's not something you want to have to do as a fitness coach. You want to be able to connect with the person, and then you want to be able to dig into their problems and actually help them. And I felt like with Facebook and Instagram, I was having to spend a lot of my time explaining why it was important and explaining why it was valuable. And that's a terrible feeling. It's also a terrible feeling to get to the end of one of those calls and have somebody be like, wow, like on Facebook and Instagram, not even want to pay you $2,000. Meanwhile, making the shift to LinkedIn, it's like I have a fantastic phone call. I enjoy it. I forget I'm even on a sales call technically. It's just having a conversation with them and connecting, walking them through some of their problems and how I can help. And then at the end, it's like the opposite feeling where it's like, I pitch now 4,100 is my lowest number up to 4,800. Recently made a $7,500 sale. And it
Crazy.
was like, you pitch the price and the conversation feels great. And then it still feels great. There's no discomfort. And so it's nice to not have to dread that anymore. And it's nice when you feel like they value it as much as you do. And it's mutual appreciation. So not only am I making higher sales and getting more clients, but the whole process feels different. And I just appreciate it a lot more being on LinkedIn. So made a big difference.
Yeah, it's crazy that as an online fitness coach, you made a $7,500 sale. And I don't think that's going to be out of the norm moving forward. I mean, obviously, you did $24,000 in profit, which is amazing. So the next month, you still hit a high.
In 1 month.
Yeah, you still hit over $10,000 the next month. And then this month, you've done a $7,500 sale and then other sales as well. But that's crazy. It's like it keeps getting better, which gives you the belief that you can actually build a business versus like you're just making sales. And I think there's a big difference between making sales and building a business.
Yeah. And it's weird how it becomes normal too. It's like the more you do it, the more it becomes normal. Um, and just like your belief grows with it too. So it's like on Facebook and Instagram before, when it was taking a lot of effort, it was kind of hard to believe in it because it seemed like such a struggle. And now with like LinkedIn, again, 4,100 is like my bottom price, and that's just become normal. Um, and it's funny that too, it's like when you're selling things at $4,500, if you even have a slow month and just onboard two new people, and like don't even do a whole lot. Not that you would ever want to like not do much, but that's
Sure.
still basically 10 grand month, just two clients. That's completely different than, if you're barely making $1,600 sales. It's being exhausted versus being able to enjoy a few really fantastic clients.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool. Is like I think you're probably more of like a quality over quantity kind of person, and the fact that you
Mm.
get to pour into those relationships, and also even you just brought on a new team member because you had the ability to pay them is crazy. Like obviously, we started. You had a one offer, and then you've changed your offer for the higher ticket sales for sure. It's like you're not pitching the same thing anymore, but it was cool to watch that evolution because we've adjusted your offer and what you actually say on the phone, and that's made a huge difference because you tailored it specifically to the people you're actually working with. And I
Mm.
think people really struggle with that.
Just overall too, like I feel so much less stressed because I'm making higher sales. And so automatically I've got so much more money to play with. So that enabled me to hire somebody to cut my workload in half. So now I'm able to just focus on coaching my clients because that's what we really want to do. Like, as much as it's, you've got to learn how to make sales online and how to reach your clients. Like, I want to be able to pour a lot of time into actually coaching my clients. And so that was something cool that came out of the $24,000 month, and seeing that I had leveled up like that was I was able to hire somebody to save my time. And it gives you more money to play with buying cool stuff for your clients. Like it relieves stress. Because not only are you making more, but it's honestly less work when you're doing it the right way. More, I think overall, what I saw shifting from Facebook and Instagram to LinkedIn is it's not more effort that makes you more money. It's the right effort in the right places and being in front of the right people.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
mean,
makes a
it's
difference.
like, what would your analogy as a fitness coach be for that same exact situation?
We've talked about it before. People showing up to the gym like every day. It's what we tell people not to do, where you're just showing up day after day, looking the same, thinking that eventually you're going to get there if you just show up enough. And that's not what it's about. If you're not thinking, you have work smarter, not harder. Um, yeah, that's a good analogy. That's exactly how it is with online coaching and getting new clients for sure.
Yeah, it's almost like someone who thinks like sweating more equals like a better body, or someone who's has more delayed onset muscle soreness. They're like, oh, my workout is good. Well, no,
Pain is
you're probably not
gain.
recovering, and your body's not changing, but you're putting in more effort. I think that's what the online coaching space looks like. Or it looks like people are using their friends list, their current audiences of their network they know, which is fine. It's where a lot of people start, and there's nothing against it. But like minus Facebook advertising or advertising alone, which most people aren't going to do for a minute because they don't have good messaging down, you're going to need to have the ability to build a new audience from scratch. That's what you've done, which is amazing. So it's just cool to see how you've implemented. Obviously, we've gone through a lot of iterations. Like it's so funny because like whenever I deal with like type A people who are like really smart, it's like basically you're driving and moving, but if you go the wrong direction, convincing you go the other direction is hard. And so it's just interesting to see how like we've made so many adjustments in coaching that you maybe probably didn't think you were gonna have to make. And it's cool to watch how many times we've had to like look at things from different angles, even though you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and I just feel like too, it's like what I felt like the process with you has been is like I'll put up this mental roadblock of like, oh, it's not gonna work because blank. And then you'll basically show me like, nope, that's not true. So like one of the things I was afraid of shifting to LinkedIn is that um it was exciting to try something new because I knew I needed to feel like I leveled up. Um, but Instagram and Facebook, I had been on there for a while. So I had a lot more people following me and I had, time built up. So I felt like I had built a lot of trust on those two platforms. And so shifting over to LinkedIn, one of the little roadblocks I was putting up is I was like, it's gonna take forever for people to trust me on there. Like, are you sure this is the move? Is this really gonna work? Am I gonna be wasting my time? Like, I hate wasting time. I'm willing to work. I'm willing to spend a lot of time doing something, but I just want to make sure that it's gonna amount to something. And so that was kind of scary to shift to LinkedIn for those reasons. But sure enough, it was like not only did it not take a whole lot of time, but I didn't have to post 1,000 times. I mean, my number of posts on LinkedIn compared to the number of posts I have on Instagram or Facebook is so small. It's so much less. Um, but also, it's like you can't not build any trust. You have to still connect with people on LinkedIn. You still have to build trust. But because you were able to guide me in what I should be talking about and how I should be posting and the values I should be communicating on LinkedIn, it didn't take a whole lot of time and it didn't take a million posts.
Yeah, no, it's really cool to watch. Obviously, like you've crushed. It was definitely hard work. Still, we've gone through a lot of different things to like adjust and figure it out. But it's just cool to see how like hard work definitely pays off when you have a strategy that works. And I think just looking around, a lot of people are they're doing a lot of posting, they're doing a lot of showing up, but they don't have the audience, and it just doesn't matter. It's like going door to door in the wrong neighborhood. You could say the right things, but if you're talking to the wrong people, it just makes your life exponentially harder. So obviously, you worked really hard. So this is a testament to you. Honestly, obviously, I've helped you, but you've done a lot. So I guess like looking forward, like what would you tell somebody who's in maybe a similar position, maybe type A, maybe a perfectionist, who loves to do things themselves? What would you say to them, and what would your advice be overall?
I would definitely say jump in as soon as possible because I know, like, looking back, I felt like when I was trying to figure out if I was going to jump in or not, I felt like maybe I'd be able to figure it out on my own, but slower. Or, I could choose between that or jumping in with Samim, and maybe Samim could speed up the process. But now looking back, I realized I would have had no clue. Like, I would have been showing up in the wrong places, saying the wrong things, doing the same stuff over and over, treading water until I got tired and drowned versus what we've done, which has been strategically leveling up every step of the way. So, um, not only am I putting my energy and effort in the right places, so I'm getting the right clients, but any time that we spend doing something, like we learn more and more as time goes on. And so it gets better as time goes on and it gets easier to reach the clients that I want to reach as time goes on. Um, and again, it's because you know better than me, and that's honestly what it comes down to. So it's been nice to be able to trust you, and that's hard too, for somebody like me, where I pride myself on being able to figure it out myself. But with this specifically, that would have been something that held me back, um, maybe forever. I don't know that I really would have ever figured it out to where it could be a sustainable thing and I'm not stressed out about it. And I know how to reach my ideal clients and it's a process that I enjoy. I don't think I would have ever been able to figure that out on my own if I hadn't jumped in with you.
Well, I think the more interesting part of that is that like smart people are pretty quick to see through bullshit, and I think it's like you can't lead somebody who you're not telling the truth to. So I think a lot of programs kind of just tell people to try harder, and they don't give strategies to implement. And I think because you're a leader, obviously you're smart. It's not like you can't do things on your own. You've already aggressively implemented really well, but
I think it was 3 things. I think it was from talking to you, I could tell that there was no BS, like, my BS detector didn't go off, so, like, I trusted you just from a conversation because I think you can tell a lot about somebody just by talking to them. And then the other thing was that I know you've done it personally, like, I've seen screenshots of the 10K fitness sales that you've made personally, so that was a big deal for me because I need facts, I need data, and then I'll kind of go based off of like, do I trust this person? And then that's how I make decision. But not only those two things, but also like I'm not the only one that you've helped do this. Again, like my first big sale of like $4,100, somebody made a 4K sale before me, so it's kind of like, aim on. And at that point, I didn't. There's no reason to not do it.
yeah, I just think environment is huge, right? And if you have multiple people around you doing the same things, it just allows you to believe faster and then set the bar higher. So obviously you've done an incredible job. Obviously love helping you. And yeah, so guys, this is Molly. She's done really well. If you have any questions, let me know. But otherwise, thank you for your time, Molly. I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys soon.